Hey everyone, welcome back to the next episode of our video series. If you're new here, be sure to check out the previous part before diving into this one. You can find the link in the description below. Now let's jump right into episode 5. Right from the start, Sharon found Spencer to be a real pain. It seemed like he was always disagreeing with her decisions. Afterwards, Spencer decided to visit Dr. Kabir to thank her for her help and to tell her how much he admired her work. But Dr. Kabir was quick to point out that everyone played a part, not just her. Spencer then noticed how tired Dr. Kabir looked and insisted that she get some rest. He promised to stay in the med bay and let her know if there was an emergency. Dr. Kabir was grateful for Spencer's offer and trusted him. Once Dr. Kabir left, Spencer couldn't resist snooping on her tablet. Finding something important, he rushed to Sharon and announced in front of everyone that she was actually a clone and had been keeping it a secret. Despite Sharon's efforts to hide the truth, Spencer's revelation had brought it all out into the open for everyone to see. Sharon gets mad and asks why Spencer always has a problem with her. She wonders if you found out because of Dr. Kabir. Spencer admits he saw Sharon's report on Dr. Kabir's tablet, tricking her. Spencer tells Sharon he doesn't trust her because being a clone isn't a sure thing. He worries she might change unexpectedly and make a bad decision that could kill everyone. Sharon tries to reassure Spencer that she was only made for the space mission and won't cause any trouble. But Spencer remembers Sharon's sister malfunctioning during a space mission, making him doubt Sharon's words. Now that the secret is out, everyone gathers for a meeting to talk about it. Spencer brings up his doubts about trusting clones, suggesting Sharon shouldn't lead. But everyone else trusts Sharon and wants her to stay in charge. Felix explains that Sharon didn't choose to be a clone and was made for space missions, so she shouldn't be blamed. Alicia wonders why clones are an issue, and Spencer mentions past problems caused by clones going haywire. Despite this, everyone agrees Sharon is a great captain and should stay in charge. Even though Spencer still disagrees, Sharon feels relieved knowing everyone supports her. She assigns tasks to everyone, but doesn't punish Spencer. Instead, she suggests he go to therapy with Kat. This shows Sharon has no problem with Spencer and just wants everyone to work together well. In the midst of everything going on, a new problem pops up. Although the engines are working fine, the spaceship is moving too slow. At this rate, it'll take them 10 years to reach their destination. They need to speed things up somehow. Ava and her team get to work on boosting the engine's speed, but there's a big risk. There's only one engine left after the blast, and if they push it too hard, it might get damaged. Despite the danger, they decide to take the chance and start working on it. On the other hand, Kat talks to Felix and tells him she suspects Ava might have something to do with Jasper's death. She says Ava has some hatred against whoever did it, though she hasn't said it out loud. Kat thinks Ava might be connected to Harris's death too. When Felix hears this, he feels relieved. Later, he calls Ava to the security chamber and asks her where she was when Jasper was killed. Upon hearing Kat's suspicions, Ava becomes enraged and denies any involvement in Jasper's death. She insists that she doesn't have time for accusations as she needs to focus on increasing the spaceship's speed. However, Felix persists and insists on interrogating her. In a fit of anger, Ava confines Felix in the security chamber and cuts off the oxygen supply. She argues that if she had wanted to kill him, she would have done so by stopping the oxygen supply, not by cutting his throat. She quickly releases Felix before he suffocates, and Felix realizes that Eva couldn't have killed Jasper. Meanwhile, amidst the chaos, Eva instructs a crew member to monitor the reactor closely. However, a malfunction occurs due to damage to the spaceship's thruster caused by the increased speed. Radiation begins to leak, resulting in the death of the crew member who tries to contain it but fails. As he succumbs to the radiation, he attempts to pull a lever to seal the compartment of the reactor chamber, but he is unable to do so. The radiation spreads rapidly, prompting the activation of the spaceship's emergency systems. With the radiation threatening to spread throughout the entire spaceship, the lives of everyone on board are at risk. On the bridge, James notices some unusual changes in the system and promptly informs Sharon. She immediately contacts Eva, who investigates and discovers that the reactor is damaged and a crew member has died. With radiation now present in the spaceship, it becomes imperative to pull a lever to control it. Failure to do so in time could result in the radiation spreading throughout the rest of the spaceship. However, the rest of the crew remains unaware of the situation. Meanwhile, Alicia meets with Baylor, as they have been growing closer over time. Alicia asks Baylor who he was hallucinating about, and after some hesitation, he admits it was Susan, the captain of the ship. It turns out that Baylor and Susan were lovers, and Susan had invited Baylor onto the spaceship. Despite this, Baylor deeply respects William Trust and fully believes in the mission. Following this revelation, Sharon assigns Alicia and Angus the task of examining an element to develop either a weapon or a shield. Together, they immerse themselves in their work, focused on the task at hand. Meanwhile, Felix approaches their assistant, Yelena. They've been working on Jasper's murder case since the beginning, trying to trace the source of the message Spencer received about the video footage of Sharon. After deciphering some clues, Felix finally uncovers details about the device used to send the message to Spencer. It seems like they're close to solving this murder mystery. In the bioshelter, Alicia and Angus continue their work on discovering the element. Suddenly, Felix and Alicia arrive, and Alicia is taken into custody for Jasper's murder. Everyone is shocked, finding it hard to believe that she could be capable of murder. Alicia herself is nervous and vehemently denies any involvement in the crime. When Felix brings her to the security chamber, he explains to Eva that the dramatic move was necessary. Someone is trying to frame her, as well as Sharon, and whoever is causing trouble could be Jasper's murderer. Felix asks Eva if she gave access to her ID to anyone else, prompting her to remember a time when she left her tablet near Baylor on the bridge. This leads them to suspect Baylor as the one who sent the message to Spencer. Felix shares this revelation with Sharon, informing her that they had previously suspected Eva and the lieutenants because of their door access. However, they now believe Baylor is the culprit, capable of hacking the doors. They recall how Baylor escaped from the med bay by hacking the door when he was trapped inside. As Felix approaches that sleeping chamber to arrest Baylor, Baylor attempts to flee. However, there's nowhere to run in space. It becomes apparent that Baylor harbors a secret space, which will later twist the story in unexpected ways. After his arrest, Baylor is interrogated, but his responses only add confusion. When asked why he killed Jasper, he cryptically mentions the need to maintain balance and prevent the mission from failing. He suggests that individuals like Jasper were disrupting this balance aboard the spaceship. Meanwhile, Eva's crew works feverishly to address the radiation leakage. Suddenly, alarms blare throughout the spaceship as the radiation spreads rapidly. The crew is ordered to evacuate to the security chamber, but they realize that someone must enter the reactor chamber to pull the lever, a task likely to result in certain death due to the radiation. Sacrifices must be made to ensure everyone's safety. After the meeting, James offers to go into the reactor chamber, but Sharon refuses. Instead, she announces that volunteering for the task is optional, and whoever feels inclined to do so may step forward. Shortly afterward, Spencer receives a message and asks for a few minutes to consider it. He then visits Baylor, who expresses a desire to volunteer. Spencer hesitates, citing Baylor's status as a murderer. Baylor promises to reveal a secret that will make Spencer trust him. The scene shifts, leaving Baylor's secret undisclosed for now. Spencer brings Baylor to the bridge and announces him as the volunteer for the mission. The crew is shocked and hesitant, as they can't trust a murderer with such a critical task. However, Spencer blindly trusts Baylor and convinces Sharon to do the same, insisting that they should trust him implicitly. Sharon reluctantly agrees, and Baylor prepares for the mission by donning a spacesuit. Alicia, feeling betrayed by Baylor's actions, is unhappy with this decision and experiences heartbreak over Baylor's betrayal. As Spencer warns Baylor about the limitations of the suit against atomic radiation, he gazes at Alicia one last time before Baylor rushes towards the reactor chamber. The radiation begins to take its toll on Baylor's body as he nears the chamber. Despite the danger, Baylor presses on and manually opens the chamber door using his unique access, a task only he could accomplish. Inside, he pulls the lever, sacrificing his life to stop the radiation from spreading further. With Baylor's sacrifice, the radiation threat is neutralized, and the crew is safe once again. Although Baylor has passed away, there is a sense of relief and gratitude among the crew. Later, Angus and Alicia approach Sharon with details of their discovery regarding the element. At the end of the episode, Sharon questions Spencer about why he trusted Baylor, but Spencer keeps the truth to himself. However, we see Spencer accessing a secret chamber in the spaceship, information he obtained from Baylor. Inside, he finds two sleeping pods, one containing William Trust, the mastermind behind the spaceship, and the other a woman. It becomes clear that Baylor knew about this secret, and that's why he has blind trust in William Trust. It's revealed that the real reason Baylor was brought onto the spaceship was to protect this secret. With Baylor gone, the responsibility now falls on Spencer's shoulders. He must keep this secret hidden from the rest of the crew, a task that won't be easy. As the episode concludes, Spencer realizes the weight of this burden, setting the stage for further intrigue and tension in future episodes. In the next episode, Sharon and the crew gather for a meeting to address a new problem: the spaceship's slow speed. At its current pace, it will take over 10 years to reach the planet. To compound matters, Eva delivers shocking news that the ship's fuel supply is running low. The spaceship relies on uranium for propulsion, but James and Alicia reassure the crew that uranium is abundant in space, and there may be nearby planets where they can replenish their supply. However, time is of the essence, as they risk being stranded in space indefinitely if they don't act quickly. After the meeting, Sharon announces that Angus has a surprise for everyone. In the cafeteria, Angus reveals that he has successfully grown some vegetables on board the spaceship. This news brings joy to the crew, who have forgotten the taste of fresh food. While it's only a small amount, it marks the beginning of self-sufficiency for the crew, easing their concerns about running out of food. After quickly consuming his meal, James rushes off like a man on a mission to search for uranium. However, on his way back, something unexpected happens. He suddenly collapses, murmuring to himself in distress before losing consciousness. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself in the sleeping chamber, disoriented and confused. He turns to Yelena for answers, but she is unable to explain how he ended up there. Later that evening, Sharon summons Spencer to her quarters, which she now occupies as the commander. She retrieves a bottle of whiskey and shares a drink with Spencer, expressing her gratitude. Sharon acknowledges that Spencer's persistent questioning and opposition to her decisions have led to a situation where she no longer harbors any secrets. She appreciates that everyone now knows the truth about her, and they've come to accept and even like her because of it. Spencer, however, feels a pang of guilt, knowing that he's keeping a significant secret about the hidden chamber where William Trust and his wife are sleeping. He understands that this project is Trust's brainchild, but he still doesn't fully comprehend why Trust is on board or why the secret chamber exists. Despite his inner turmoil, Spencer remains silent, unwilling to divulge this crucial information to Sharon, especially after Baylor's refusal to do so. This decision weighs heavily on Spencer, knowing that withholding such a vital secret could potentially lead to serious consequences in the future. James gathers everyone on the bridge and shares some good news. They've found a nearby planet rich in uranium using the spaceship's sensors. This planet is small and located in a solar system with 2 suns. However, Eva interrupts with a problem. They don't have enough fuel to reach the planet. Spencer suggests using the spaceship's solar cells and the abundant energy from the 2 suns, but Sharon explains that the solar cells are designed to activate only when they reach their destination, Proxima b. This means they can't use the solar cells until the spaceship is traveling at a much faster speed. Alicia proposes a daring idea, using a slingshot maneuver around the sun to increase the spaceship's speed. By getting close to the sun and orbiting around it, the gravitational force of the sun will propel them forward, allowing them to open the solar cells and gain enough speed to reach the planet without using fuel. While everyone is intrigued by the idea, they realize the risks involved. The fuel reserves are limited, and if the speed doesn't increase or if they fail to open the solar cells, they could be pulled into the sun, leading to disaster. This maneuver requires manual control by a skilled pilot, and James volunteers for the task. As he exits the bridge to check the solar cells, the crew braces themselves for the risky maneuver ahead. Eva approaches James and mentions his fainting from the previous night, says that it might have been caused by drinking alcohol. James becomes very angry, telling Eva to stay out of his business. They argue about it, and Eva reveals that she could have referred James to the med bay after his fainting episode, but instead, she chose to let him rest in the sleeping chamber to avoid causing trouble for him. The argument between them escalates because James has been keeping something hidden. He hasn't provided blood samples or medical records to Dr. Kabir, and he always volunteers for dangerous missions without hesitation. Eva becomes suspicious, but James doesn't share any information with her. On the other side of the ship, Spencer found himself in a state of confusion. Sharon's recent behavior indicated she no longer harbored suspicions about him. In fact, she explicitly stated there were no issues or secrets between them. Despite this reassurance, Spencer couldn't shake off the weight of a hidden truth he carried. Feeling tense, he sought out Kat for a private conversation. Initially, Spencer hesitated to disclose his secret, but Kat's supportive words encouraged him to open up. Kat assured him of confidentiality, prompting Spencer to reveal the existence of a secret chamber where William Trust and his wife lay in hibernation. Kat's shocked reaction urged caution, warning Spencer against sharing the secret with anyone else. Spencer considered informing Sharon, but Kat had her own reasons for keeping the information under wraps. Ultimately, Spencer agreed to honor Kat's wishes and keep the secret from Sharon. After that, Spencer went back into the secret chamber and found another hidden gate. This gate contained the DNA of every animal from Earth. It seemed like William Trust had planned everything carefully. Maybe this spaceship was meant to preserve life from Earth. It's unclear what all this means, but we might find out more later. Meanwhile, Alicia made a simulation to figure out which sun they needed to orbit and at what angle. James was supposed to handle this task, but while discussing it, James and Eva got into a small argument. Eva still had doubts about James, even though Sharon had reassured her. Following that, the scene shifts to the medbay, where Felix encounters Dr. Kabir. He offers his assistance, citing his extensive medical background. Felix reassures Dr. Kabir that there are currently no medical emergencies or unresolved cases on the spaceship. Observing Dr. Kabir's exhaustion, Felix acknowledges her concerns. Dr. Kabir confides in Felix about her missing medications, which she relies on to maintain mental alertness. Felix advises Dr. Kabir that she has already taken a sufficient dose and offers to manage her medication going forward. Initially, Dr. Kabir reacts with anger and frustration, but after Felix explains his intentions, she calms down. Eventually, Dr. Kabir agrees to rest, and Felix leaves her to sleep. Meanwhile, on the bridge, the preparation for the slingshot maneuver has been completed, and their spaceship has approached close to the sun. James assumes control and executes the calculations provided by Alicia, guiding the ship to complete one revolution around the sun. Upon reaching the calculated speed, Sharon issues the command to open the solar cells. As the solar cells deploy, the ship accelerates rapidly, propelled by the energy of the sun. However, their fuel has been completely depleted, and this solar cell method represents their last chance for propulsion. Initially, everything appears to be going smoothly, and the crew rejoices in their success. Suddenly, a section of the solar cells sustains damage, causing their speed to decrease as the gravitational pull of the sun takes hold. Now their spaceship is being pulled back toward the sun, as the solar cells require all units to function properly. With the heat intensifying within the spaceship, the crew finds themselves once again teetering on the brink of disaster. As they continued on their journey, Eva explained that repairing the damaged solar cell required venturing outside the spaceship since it couldn't be controlled from within. However, the proximity to the sun posed a significant danger due to intense solar radiation. It was a mission fraught with peril, where someone's life could be at stake once again. Unlike last time when Baylor volunteered, this time only someone with a death wish would dare to go out, considering the extreme heat close to the sun. Sharon expressed her hope that this time no one would need to sacrifice themselves. She revealed that Dr. Hall had made alterations to her genetic makeup, including protections against solar radiation. With a determined resolve, Sharon announced her decision to undertake the perilous task. Despite Spencer's protests, Sharon insisted that if she didn't try, everyone would perish. Clad in a protective suit, Sharon ventured outside the spaceship, enduring excruciating pain as her skin burned from the radiation. Nevertheless, she persevered and successfully repaired the damaged solar cell. Her condition was dire, but with the solar cell restored, they activated it, breaking free from the sun's grasp and setting course for the planet. As Sharon re-enters the spaceship, Yelena and Spencer rush to her aid, dismayed by the extent of her facial burns caused by radiation exposure. They hastily transport her to the medbay, where Felix assures them that he can treat her injuries effectively. Despite Felix's reassurances, Spencer remains deeply worried. Felix urges Spencer to leave Sharon's care to him and assume command of the bridge. Reluctantly, Spencer complies and heads to the bridge, where he receives troubling news from James and Alicia. They inform him that the sensors have detected the same material that previously collided with the spaceship on the planet where they intended to find uranium. This revelation leaves them uncertain whether they should proceed with their original plan or alter their course. Eva steps forward, expressing doubt about the possibility of an external attack, given their isolated location in space. James responds with a playful remark about aliens with large faces, but his underlying concern is clear. He believes they should change course to avoid potential danger. However, Eva reminds everyone of their critical situation. They have limited fuel and are already near the planet where they hope to find uranium. If they don't secure the uranium now, they risk being stranded in space and facing certain death. Spencer, though serving as captain, is uncertain about making the final decision. It becomes evident that Sharon's leadership qualities and decisive nature are sorely missed in this critical moment. Following Spencer's suggestion to send a probe to gather information about the planet, the crew realizes they don't have one. James offers to use the shuttle for the mission, assuring them he'll communicate if suspect any dangers. Despite the risks involved, James is determined to go. However, Eva, who harbors trust issues, insists on accompanying him. Spencer is hesitant to allow Eva to join James, especially considering her doubts about the shuttle's condition. Despite Spencer's objections, Eva's concerns persist. James, aware of Eva's lack of trust in him, agrees to her request. They set off on their journey, with Eva repeatedly questioning James about his demeanor during their flight. While en route to the planet, James suddenly loses consciousness again, causing concern for Eva. Lacking knowledge of how to pilot the shuttle, Eva attempts to revive James. Resorting to a slap, Eva manages to bring James back to his senses. After the incident, Eva, frustrated and angry, confronts James about his condition, threatening to reveal it to everyone if he doesn't disclose it himself. Feeling cornered, James reluctantly opens up about his condition. He reveals that he was affected by an experiment conducted by William Trust on Earth, which has a direct impact on his mind, causing him to faint occasionally. He explains that there is no cure for this disease, and people have even died from it. Due to the uncertainty of his lifespan, James is always prepared to undertake risky missions where his life is endangered, hoping to derive some benefit from his potential demise. He pleads with Eva not to disclose this information to anyone else on the spaceship, as nobody else is aware of his condition. After learning the truth, Eva feels sympathy for James, but agrees to keep his secret. Meanwhile, in the medbay, Sharon regains consciousness, and Dr. Kabir, looking refreshed, joins her. Sharon expresses her appreciation to Felix for managing things in her absence. Subsequently, Sharon is escorted to the bridge where she receives a warm round of applause from everyone for her heroic actions, as she ultimately saved the crew. She swiftly coordinates with James and Eva as Alicia directs them to orbit the planet. To their shock and dismay, they discover that the signals indicating uranium on the planet are not actually emanating from the planet itself, but rather from a new spaceship situated beyond it. This spaceship bears a striking resemblance to their own Ark spaceship, yet it remains motionless. With this unsettling revelation, the 6th episode draws to a close. So, dear viewers, if you've been enjoying the twists and turns of this thrilling series, don't forget to share it with your loved ones. Stay tuned for more episodes and keep supporting the series.